Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving into two major political developments that sit right at the crossroads of law, diplomacy, and South Africa's place in the world. On one side, Minister Ronald Lamola has been updating Parliament about South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. On the other, he has also given us a glimpse into preparations for the G20 Summit, which will be hosted here in November. Both matters may seem like very different issues, but together they highlight the weight South Africa is trying to carry on the global stage. Let us begin with the ICJ.
It is vivid. We can see it on various platforms, including social media, with the advent of technology. It is vividly clear in everyone across the globe. As the South African government was chosen the act in accordance with our constitutional values and our international law obligations. We have chosen to be on the side of the global majority that has rejected these horrific actions. Our case was rejected in some quarters as populist, blood-libel, meritless, and baseless. Today, as we meet here, there is a growing body of consensus on whether what all we are witnessing is indeed consistent with the statements of the Israel leaders. As Archbishop Makgoba made the following observation in a Times Live opinion piece dated 4 September 2025, and I quote, "In April 2024, Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng, the South African medical doctor,
when the diplomatic pressure grows too heavy, South Africa is signaling that it will not do so, even as Israel and its allies push back. Of course, this is not only a matter of law. It is also a matter of politics. The case has strained relations with Israel, brought both applause and criticism from across Africa, and even caused awkward moments with Western powers that consider themselves both allies of South Africa and supporters of Israel. Inside South Africa, the case has added fire to long-running debates about foreign policy priorities. Some say we should focus on fixing Eskom before worrying about Gaza. Others argue that moral leadership abroad can strengthen our credibility at home. Now, let's add a pinch of humor here. You have to imagine Ronald Lamola in Parliament, standing there as if he is presenting a long legal
The global system of governance that has been developed after the Second World War is under severe attack. It is important for the global majority who believe in a rules-based system anchored on international law and in the UN Charter to stand up and protect the sanctity of the rule of law. Should we stand back and remain silent when innocent civilians are killed or starved right before our eyes? A different question will be, when does impunity end? Who should ensure that there is no exceptionalism? All of us are equal before the law. Should we accept a world where it is acceptable for over 60,000 people that are being indiscriminately killed in our eyes, and in real time we can see it on various platforms, including social media, with the advent of technology? It is vividly clear in everyone across the globe.
Preparations are well underway. South Africa is expected to showcase not only its ability to host such a large gathering, but also its role as a bridge between the global north and the global south. President Ramaphosa has long argued that South Africa should not be seen as a junior partner in global politics, but as a voice for Africa on the world stage. The G20 Summit provides the perfect opportunity to reinforce that narrative. Now, here is where the two stories connect. On the one hand, South Africa is challenging Israel at the ICJ, which paints the country as a defender of justice and international law. On the other, South Africa is preparing to welcome the most powerful leaders in the world. That is a lot of responsibility for a nation that still cannot get its trains to run on time. There is a certain irony here. We might struggle with potholes in Johannesburg, but come November we will be rolling out red carpets for the G20. It also raises a question: can South Africa truly balance these two roles? Can we be both the courtroom crusader and the diplomatic host? Some say yes, because moral leadership and global hosting duties actually complement each other. Others fear the combination could backfire, making South Africa look like it is trying to punch above its weight. And of course, South Africans themselves will be watching carefully, asking whether any of this global prestige will translate into improved lives for ordinary citizens. Now, if you have ever wondered how international law actually works, the ICJ case is a fascinating example. The ICJ cannot enforce its rulings with police or soldiers. It relies on states to respect its authority. That means if South Africa does succeed in proving genocide, the political ripple effects could be enormous, even if Israel does not immediately change course. It would strengthen international calls for sanctions, boycotts, and other measures. It could also make other countries think twice about ignoring international law. At the same time, the G20 Summit could bring real opportunities. Beyond the speeches and photo opportunities, South Africa hopes to secure trade deals, investment pledges, and perhaps some diplomatic goodwill. Yet anyone who has followed global summits knows that promises are often easier to make than to deliver. The challenge will be turning the spotlight of November into something tangible for South Africans by December. Here is a little satirical thought. Imagine Ronald Lamola trying to explain to his family over Christmas lunch, yes, we took Israel to court for genocide, and we hosted the G20, but no, Eskom still switched off the lights during the turkey. That is the paradox of South African politics, big ambitions on the global stage, but the stubborn realities of service delivery back home. As this story unfolds, we should keep in mind that these are not isolated events. They are part of a broader push by South Africa to define its place in the 21st century. We are not the biggest economy, nor the richest country, but we carry a history that gives weight to our voice. Whether that voice is calling for justice in The Hague or welcoming presidents and prime ministers to Johannesburg, the question is the same: can South Africa turn symbolism into substance? That is the challenge facing Ronald Lamola, Cyril Ramaphosa, and indeed all of us as citizens. Because at the end of the day, history does not remember the slogans. It remembers the outcomes. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Do you think South Africa should continue with its ICJ case against Israel, or should we focus more on the G20 summit and the opportunities it brings? Let us know your thoughts. See you next time.